Thank you for joining us with your perspective on that story. Meanwhile, 9 people have been killed when a driver plowed into a crowd at a Filipino cultural celebration in Vancouver. Police in the Canadian city say that, of course, this deadly incident unfolded on Saturday night when a man drove an SUV through a crowd at the Filipino community's Lapu Lapu Day festival. The attack occurred during the popular event, leaving 9 people confirmed dead and several others injured. Regional Health Authority Vancouver Coastal Health has confirmed a code orange mass casualty event. Witnesses describe the vehicle speeding through a street lined with food trucks and packed with festival goers. Let's listen in to what the police is saying on the incident.
Occurred, and what I can share with you at this point, and to be fair to the investigation, is that at approximately 8:14 p.m. a lone suspect subject male with one vehicle drove through a crowded community event occurring near here. That male was taken into custody at the scene by the crowd. It was a Filipino community event. The crowd immediately called police. We then took custody of the subject, and he is now in our custody.
A 30-year-old Vancouver man is now in custody. Police have confirmed that the incident is not being treated as an act of terrorism. Local authorities are continuing to investigate the tragic event as the community comes to grips with the devastating loss. The incident has left the city in shock, with local leaders expressing condolences. Police say the suspect was known to them in certain circumstances, but details about his background are still unclear. A 24-hour assistance center has been set up to help reconnect families and friends. This is how the city councillor responded.
I don't even know what to say. This was a great day. Wonderful event. Huge community event. And to have it end in tragedy like this, it won't break us or the community, but
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, in fact, has expressed shock over the tragic events at Vancouver's Lapu Lapu Day festival, sending his thoughts to the victims and the Filipino community. Jagmeet Singh, leader of the NDP, also extended his thoughts to the victims and their families. Prime Minister Mark Carney has expressed his devastation over the incident, offering his condolences to the victims' loved ones and to the Filipino-Canadian community. Keith Vaz, former British minister, is joining us live from London. Keith Vaz, what do you make of this tragedy in Vancouver?
Good afternoon, Uday from London. It is an absolute tragedy, as you said. I think that everyone in politics, and Canada faces a general election tomorrow, that's when the final day of voting is obviously shocked and devastated by what has occurred. What's clear from the police is that this was not an act of terrorism. They've made that very clear. It was a single man acting on his own who drove through and was involved in these activities. So I think what we need to do is to await the results of a investigation that is taking place. In the meantime, of course, not just the Filipino community, but also all of Canada will be being very cautious and very careful given the current political situation that is occurring. And there has to be obviously a thorough investigation. All the political leaders, as you said, Uday, have condemned what has happened and expressed their shock and horror. And at this moment in time, given the political situation, that is all anyone can ever say until that report comes out from the police. But it's obviously shocking that this has occurred, and it's not just the Canadians who are worried about this. I think that the Filipino community in particular, since it was a celebration of a local hero who fought against the Spanish in the 16th century, Lapu Lapu, they obviously celebrate this day. It's very sacred and very special to them, so they must be devastated by what has happened. The only other bit of information we have is that this individual was known in some way to the police. So further information obviously will come out about that.
Yes, Keith Vaz, also as far as this incident is concerned, would you connect it to the, the Canadian elections? And as a fallout of it, do you believe security needs to be on a heightened alert given the fact that voting day and results day is around the corner?
I think everyone is going to be very concerned about the climate. I cannot make that connection, and nobody is making that connection. To be fair to everybody, this is not a connection that anyone can make. And the police have been very clear that it is not connected, that this is an individual acting in a particular way who has done this. So I don't think that there's any question of this being in some way connected. But the fact is, it has happened the day before the election. It's happened in the city of Vancouver, in British Columbia, so not the capital, and it's happened to a community that is not a large community. It's clearly a community of size, but not one of the largest communities in Canada. So we don't know why it's happened, but nobody at the moment is connecting it in any way to the very important election that's happening tomorrow. The opinion polls, as you know, Uday, suggest almost a dead heat. I think the Liberals are 5% ahead. It's very close, the election. Quite different from the situation like 2 months ago. So I think people are going to be watching that, but nobody's making this connection, and I don't think that we can do so, being so far away from what has happened.
All right, Keith Faz, thank you for joining us with your perspective on that big story.